Okay, so the educated among us know that Warhammer is the future, and that Henry Cavill's Warhammer live-action cinematic universe is going to replace and dwarf Star Wars, Marvel, and DC. And I said, the intelligent among us know this. Some of you haven't figured it out yet. But here we go. We have a really interesting article here about Henry Cavill's Warhammer 40K series and a maybe controversial opinion on who he should play. Henry Cavill's Warhammer 40K series should ditch Space Marines for one of the series' most important characters. And I know exactly how it would work. This is by Sam Smith, probably not the one that does all the demon songs. But here you go. Opinion: Henry Cavill should play this Warhammer character who's far more important than any Space Marine. When you purchase... Oh, okay, anyway. When most people think of Warhammer 40K, they think of hulking Space Marines, particularly the bright blue Ultramarines. Boring! This is understandable, as they're often front and center of Games Workshop's marketing, and stellar series extensions like 2024's Space Marine 2 game have only deepened this association. So, yeah, they're the poster boys. So when it was revealed that actor and 40K superfan Henry Cavill would be starring in a Prime Video series based on the Warhammer 40K universe, many fans assumed he'd be playing a Space Marine, or at least something connected to them. Some speculated that Cavill would play a character like Titus, who's the protagonist from the 40K Space Marine game series, while others thought he may even be playing the Emperor of Mankind or his treacherous son, Horus. This was entirely reasonable, especially after Games Workshop's epic 60-novel Horus Heresy series ended only relatively recently, reestablishing the franchise's background lore and spawning the 30K Horus Heresy tabletop game, which is set during that conflict. Others believe that Cavill could be playing Rabute Gilliman, the Primarch of the Ultramarines, the first of the Emperor's loyal sons to return, and arguably the closest thing 40K has to a protagonist. True, Gilliman too would be an excellent choice. I agree. However, here's what they say. The Inquisitor will see you now. However, as tiny snippets of information trickled out of the upcoming streaming series, the evidence is starting to support another theory, that Cavill won't be playing a super soldier like a Space Marine Primarch or the Emperor, but a human. And not just any human, but one who's become a firm fan favorite and a character who is entrenched in some of 40K's most important storylines. We're talking about Gregor Eisenhorn, an Inquisitor who's the star of multiple books and also has his own tabletop model. Eisenhorn's job is to sniff out corruption of chaos, essentially Warhammer's version of hell and other worldly force that corrupted Horus, and then deal with it accordingly, and often ruthlessly. While Eisenhorn started out as an Inquisitor, he did things by the book. His increasingly complicated story has seen him take a more radical approach to protecting humanity, and one that often puts him in risk of corruption by chaos. As a result, he's seen as a rogue when compared to his fellow Inquisitors. Yeah, he's a radical. But while Eisenhorn hasn't quite entered the anti-hero territory yet, he'd still be an ideal choice as the complicated and morally gray protagonist of Warhammer TV series, and it's looking increasingly likely that this will be the role that Cavill plays. Of course, this is far from confirmed, as the star are just starting to align that way. For starters, the show followed Space Marine primarily would be very expensive show to make. It wouldn't be impossible, but focusing on the action of 8-foot-tall super soldiers battling Tyranids and Orcs may be a bit ambitious for 40K's first live-action outing. That's a fair point. That would be the production cost of doing big Space Marines. It's going to be crazy. I mean, they got to figure that out either way, because either way, you got Space Marines, but that's a fair point. However, a more human story focused on intrigue and subtle but insidious nature of chaos would be incredibly compelling, and Eisenhorn is the most obvious candidate for such a story. It would also show the audience that there is so much more to 40K than Space Marines. As epic as they are, they exist to protect humanity, so let's see some actual humanity once in a while. Fuck humanity. More evidence for the casting comes from the Eisenhorn creator, the author Dan Abnett. Now, here's something that's interesting. Have I not spoken about this exact thing with you guys, the Dan Abnett thing, the delay of the book? You know I'm, like, really on top of this shit, right? Anyway, more evidence of casting comes from the Eisenhorn creator, the author Dan Abnett, when asked about Pandemonium, the next novel in his Bequin series, which is a spin-off from the Eisenhorns. Abnett revealed he is under a non-disclosure agreement with Games Workshop and cannot talk about it. The delay of the Pandemonium book has baffled many Warhammer fans, but if elements of the story are being adapted for the TV, then this could explain why. It also leads more credibility to the theory that Eisenhorn will be involved in the series, most likely played by Henry Cavill. This brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. The adventures of Beckwin and the Eisenhorn have seen both characters on the trail of the mysterious King in Yellow, whose identity was revealed in the last book of the series. This character was once known as Constantine Valdor, who was the Emperor's bodyguard during the Horus Heresy, much like a brother to his actual sons, the Primarchs. For reasons unknown, the now 10,000-year-old Valdor, he's 13,000 years old, fucking normies. Valdor is searching for the means to take control of the Emperor and therefore humanity. With Eisenhorn and his allies racing to stop him, Valdor's intentions and what could happen if he succeeds could have galaxy-shattering implications, and Eisenhorn might be the only person who can prevent this from coming to pass. This essentially makes Eisenhorn one of the most important players in all of Warhammer, and if Cavill has indeed been cast in the role, it means both fans and newcomers are in for one heck of a ride, and one without a Space Marine in sight. Okay, that's pretty interesting. So let me kind of talk about this. So Eisenhorn as a character, this is something that everybody says. And by the way, before this Games Workshop Henry Cavill deal, there was a different development deal going on where they were going to make a show. That show was going to be Eisenhorn. It's funny they don't bring that up in this article, but there was legitimately an Eisenhorn show in development. Might not have even been for Amazon, but it was Warhammer. They were working with Hollywood for the first time. That thing fell apart, okay? But it was a clear indication that Games Workshop, the company that owns Warhammer, saw the benefit of adapting Eisenhorn, okay? Now, I got to tell you, if you would have asked me last year, I would have been like, nah, I don't get it at all. There's no way they should do this. I don't care how cool Eisenhorn is. Fuck that. However, I read the first 3 books of the Eisenhorn series, and I totally get it now, okay? I think one of the great benefits of a character like Eisenhorn is that he's superhuman, meaning he has flaws, he gets corrupted, he falls in love, he feels like being evil sometimes, he feels like being treacherous, like he's truly human in his considerations, his emotionality, the way he interacts with other characters. He's fascinating. He's also like a regular dude. So you would have him in scenes with like other Inquisitors or other people. He will often disguise himself and do shit like that. So you could have him in more normal settings. He's still really powerful and adept. Like he uses a power sword, bolt or pistol. He's got like armor and whatnot. Eventually, he gets to the point where he has this demon book and he can literally like release demons and then put them into other people's bodies and shit. It's really crazy. So very powerful person, really interesting character. I understand why some people think that Eisenhorn would be the character for Cavill. Okay. And by the way, he kind of looks like Cavill. Okay. Like that's the other part of this. That's like, yo, what the fuck? Like he even looks like Henry. And it's like, oh shit, like that's crazy. So that's probably why a lot of people think this is going down. However, I do not think this is who Cavill is going to be. And part of the reason is like, there have been interviews where he's directly asked this question and he says like his answer was really interesting. He said, well, I can only be one character. And so if I commit to Eisenhorn, that cuts off the Primarchs and the Captain General. And then he said something like, it would be difficult to be a mere Inquisitor when the Primarchs and the Captain General are right there. Now, what that implies to me is that the fan within Cavill does not want to be Gregor Eisenhorn. And again, Gregor Eisenhorn is awesome. I have nothing against Gregor Eisenhorn. He is so dope. He is so cool. But he's not a Primarch. He's not a Custodes. He's not one of these mega powerful, super, like, just insane in their scale kind of a figure. And I would also argue that doing Gregor and doing Eisenhorn as the first character in is really Hollywood thinking, meaning they're thinking in terms of digestibility, marketability, focus group considerations, like a lot of fucking bullshit. And I gotta be honest with you, I do not think that's where Cavill's head is at. I think where Cavill's head is at is how do we properly convey the scale and depth of this universe in this first show? The first show is the most important thing. It's the thing that will either get them way more stuff or end it forever. Okay? And I just cannot see Cavill taking the first opportunity and not going for it in a way that is just shocking. And if you listen to some of his most recent comments, like he had that one comment just a couple of weeks ago where he said they're having trouble cracking it. The scripts are difficult, and to actually adapt this world is a challenge. But it's a challenge that he loves, right? So he literally said that. Okay? So in no way, shape, or form do I think Cavill's mindset is what's the most commercially viable, like, oh, if we get this one right, we can get that one. Like, dude, I'm telling you right now, I think Cavill wants fucking scale. Like, I think he wants you to see 30K. I think he wants you to see 40K. I think he wants you to see the Primarchs in their prime. I think he wants you to see the Emperor on the Golden Throne. I think he wants to fucking show everything, which is maybe a little counterintuitive to what you might expect. As in, like, yeah, the Gregor thing, like, makes sense from, like, a focus group perspective, and you're like, oh, yeah, that'd be the right way to do it. I don't think that's what Cavill wants to do at all. I think Cavill wants to do something that, number one, the hardcore fans fucking love, dude. I think he wants to blow us away. And then I think, like, because here's the thing. Warhammer is becoming more popular than ever. Okay? It is literally more popular than ever. My Warhammer Explained video just hit 1 million fucking views. Okay? This thing, it is more popular than ever. The company's valuation is over $5 billion. Their stock has gone nothing but up over the past 5 years. They are fucking killing it, dude. Just killing it. IGN doing big things with Warhammer lore YouTubers. Actual athletes talking about Warhammer and 40K. Like, dude, it's crazy. Like, it's actually happening. And I would argue it's not happening because Warhammer is becoming more commercially viable. It's actually happening because the audience is changing in a way that Warhammer, in its authentic depth, is more attractive. Like, we live in a world where everything gets watered down and commercialized. And Disney, and definitely the Marvel Cinematic Universe, became over fucking commercialized. Like, it was all cut up into nice little digestible bits and given to you throughout a certain period of time every single year. And I think there's actually a rejection of that. I think that over commercialized process, the corporate consideration, how everything gets sanitized and made so that it is available to the widest group of people ever. I think, ironically, Warhammer can get to a place that Game of Thrones, Star Wars, and Marvel have been to before, and it can get there not by trying to become a commercially viable version of what it is, but instead embracing the over-the-top, absolutely fucking insane level of detail and just totally, like, unrecognizable scope of what it is. There is an authenticity and a charm to how goddamn ridiculous Warhammer is. And I think a lot of the mainstream audience is actually, like, ready for that. And I think that's what Cavill is sensing too, right? That might be what Games Workshop is. It's like this. It's like, why would they change it if it's already working better than it ever has before? Like, do you understand the logic of what I'm saying? So I think you've got a super fan in Cavill, and sure, there's a part of him that is thinking in terms of commercial viability and producing, and that's like his job, right? Because he is the producer. But at the end of the day, man, they negotiated the rights for this thing for 2 years. And until they knew what was the way they were going to do it and what was the character Cavill was going to play, it took 2 years. 2 years of negotiation. So I just do not think you're getting Eisenhorn. I think you're getting a Primarch or Valdor or the Emperor himself. I think this thing is going to be way bigger and more ambitious than people think. Like, crazy big. Because that's what I think Warhammer is. That's what I think you should do. So anyway, another article out about the Warhammer Cinematic Universe. It's just so cool to watch a lot of these articles pop up. I thought it was so cool that IGN brought that one YouTuber on there. I love that guy's YouTube videos. And for him to be brought on to IGN and ask all the... Like, it's just, you can see it happening. Like, you can kind of see it, popularity rising and stuff like that. So I'm totally down. And I will take any excuse I can to talk about Warhammer and the cinematic universe a little bit more. So there you have it. Any questions? Thanks for watching, and if you like this clip, smash a like on the actual video and subscribe to this channel. That way more of these clips get into your feed. I've also linked the full episode below if you want to check out the entire thing, including the Q&A we do with fans. You can also watch this show live. We do it live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And you can also find all of my content, including the videos I put on my main YouTube channel, on the podcast feed.